Welcome to this episode of She's All Books. Come and hang out for book reviews, bookish content, and nostalgic vibes. I hope you enjoy this episode.
Hey, welcome to this episode of She's All Books. Today I have Lauren Tracy joining me. Everyone say hi to Lauren in the comments. Lauren is the author of The Greater Good and The Space Between. You can find her on Instagram. There's her books right there. And we are going to chat all things books, writing, coffee, reading, all of the things. Yes. So thank you for joining us, Lauren. I really appreciate you coming on this episode. And I can't wait for us to just dive in. Yeah. All right. So my whole vibe is like nostalgic millennial 90s, like 2000s. So to set the tone, I have my handy dandy paper fortune teller, and we're going to let the paper fortune teller guide our conversation and questions that I have for you. And we got a few questions from readers earlier in the week when I posted who was going to be on this episode. So I'm going to pull some of those as well into the paper fortune teller rotation. Are you ready? All right. Awesome. So if you're watching this and you're not familiar with the paper fortune teller, I always give a little overview of what this is. I don't know if it's so popular, but once upon a time it was. This is a origami paper little like toy that you can make, and it has different colors on the outside. Oh, my brighter one is over there. The one that actually looks like you can see it. And then on the inside, we have a series of 8 numbers, and each number has a question that corresponds with it for Lauren. So I'm going to ask Lauren what color, and then a number, and we're going to go just one round of numbers for time purposes. But these are fun. Did you call these paper fortune tellers or cootie catchers, Lauren?
Cootie catchers.
Okay.
I think it's like a regional thing, but
I know. Yeah. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm collecting data with every author I talk to. Definitely in Canada, every author I've talked to has said cootie catcher.
Interesting.
I'm wondering if I'm like one of the only ones who called it a paper fortune teller. It's like everyone's like, it's overwhelmingly the majority is cootie catcher.
It doesn't sound great.
I know. I remember like when I was younger, we would use it for like yes or no's. So it was kind of like a fortune teller. It was like, am I going to have a boyfriend? And then like you ask and it's like yes or no. Maybe.
Or Magic 8 Ball. Yeah.
So different ways to use it. All right, Lauren, I am going to tell you the colors again. Pink, orange, green, or blue?
Ooh, I'll start with green.
Green. All right. Green. Okay. Our number options are 3, 4, 7, or 8.
I'll do 8.
8. All right. Yeah. Question number 8. All right. What is your favorite part about your favorite thing about the Bookstagram community?
I think it's the support that you get from people that you may never meet in real life. Honestly, if I never got involved in the Bookstagram community, I wouldn't have these 2 books out there. I wouldn't have known how to find my way. So I think it's just like that sense of support and positivity. I know there's always negative sides to things, but for the most part, the people that I've connected with have been amazing, and I've met amazing editors and authors and readers. So I think that's my favorite.
Awesome. Yeah, it is such a supportive community. I've made so many like friends through the Bookstagram and the book community in general. And just like being able to connect with authors is so fun. Thank you. All right. Orange, pink, green, or blue?
I'll do blue.
Blue? Okay. BLUE. And your number options are 3, 4, or 7, since you already did 8.
I'll do 3.
3? Okay. Question number 3 is, this is a fill in the blank. Okay. So My ideal book boyfriend, book girlfriend is blank. So how would you describe your ideal book crush?
I would have to say funny. I think it's important to have a sense of humor. I think all of my book boyfriends that I've either written or read that I've really liked have had a really sarcastic, funny sense of humor. Like if you're not able to make fun of each other, I think it's not that great.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. I love a good sense of humor for sure.
Yeah, like that's
Even
I
in
think
books that like tend to be a little serious, it's fun to have like a little bit of like humor and goofiness in there.
100%. You have to have that to lighten it up. Like if everyone's serious all the time, it's
Yes.
just not good. You have to have the comedic relief, whether it's smart funny or dopey funny. I think you have to have that.
Exactly. Exactly. I agree. All right. Pink, orange, green, or blue?
I'll do orange.
Orange? All right. ORANGE. And you keep getting the same four options. Uh, this is 4 or 7 is all that's left with these.
I'll do 7.
7? Okay.
Yeah.
Question number 7. What are 3 things that readers might not know about you?
Ooh. So I was thinking about this. It's always like the hardest question I feel to answer is when people are like, "What are things, exciting things about you?" And I'm just like, I don't know.
I know. I actually hate this question when anyone asks me this question. Yeah.
I would say one of them is I've solo traveled to more than 5 countries. So I've been to more than 5 countries by myself.
Wow.
I would say both of my current books took 10 years to get from an original idea to actually being published. And I think, the other one would be I have a podcast, which a lot of people don't know that. And I'm still learning the ropes of that. But I think people that know me would never have guessed that I would do a podcast because I'm pretty quiet in real life. So.
Great. Absolutely. I think people who know me are like shocked I'm doing this. So what is your podcast name? Can you let the viewers know your podcast name?
Yeah, it's called Tomes and Tonics. I do it with my best friend of more than 10 years. She and I have known each other forever. We're both huge book lovers, and she lives in Florida. I live in Massachusetts, so because I moved, and it's just a way for us every week to connect and
I love
just sit and
that.
talk about different books. So,
Yes.
yeah.
That is awesome. I'm going to tune in. I can't wait to I can't talk, subscribe. That sounds awesome.
Thanks. Yeah.
No.
It's been fun to learn.
All right. I'll if you send me the link to it, I can also add that into the caption so viewers can find it. Okay, perfect. Yeah. All right. Next choice between pink, orange, green, or blue.
I'll keep doing different ones. I'll do pink. We'll see.
Pink.
We can see what happens.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. PINK. Oh my gosh.
Is it 4?
4. Question number 4. That is so strange. I wonder if I'm switching the way I'm opening it each time.
It's funny. I don't know.
This never happens. Okay. I don't know. All right. Question. Maybe it's like the aurora. What's happening right now? And something's going on. There's like a space storm or something. I think. Yeah. We'll just blame it on that. Okay. Question number 4. What are your favorite tropes to read, and what are your favorite tropes to write?
I think to read, it's probably enemies to lovers. I know it's a very popular one, but it is just really just satisfying to read how people approach it differently. And I think to write, it's probably that's a hard.
It is.
It's like I'm always so bad about saying like, what tropes are in my books. It's like such a hard thing, like for me as a writer to be like, oh yeah, that's definitely a trope that's in there. I don't normally know until it comes out.
Right.
I would probably say, I don't even know if it's considered a trope, but I would say like lovable side characters, like developing those.
Yes.
I know it's kind of a weird trope, but I think like if I were to pick something, I love writing kind of quirky side characters because I find them endlessly amusing. So.
Awesome. And I feel, and you can totally correct me if I'm wrong,
Mhm.
your two books that are out, I feel like are very different from each other. And I
Yes.
was dying to hear what you're going to say for your favorite tropes to write, because I do
Yeah.
feel as if like that's true. Like the side characters and everything are very strong and important, but like I just felt like your writing is so expansive, like
Polarizing.
the different styles that they are. And so I was very excited to dive into some of these questions with you to hear what you would say about those.
Yeah, and they're very different.
Yes.
And I did say, one of the things was they're both 10-year-old ideas, so I came up with them in the same year. I
Yes.
just kind of let them sit there for a long
Yeah.
time and revisited them. And I actually finished The Greater Good before I finished The Space Between, but I chose The Space Between first as a release because it was more, I think, contemporary,
Okay.
more of something that I think more people could relate to, and The Greater Good was just so vastly different. So I was definitely nervous to release The Greater Good, to be honest,
I
just because
love
it's such
it.
a
Yeah.
different
Yes.
thing.
Yes, absolutely. It's so good. Awesome. Yeah, that was one of the things that stuck out the most about it, because when I first read The Space Between, I remember looking at your other books and I added it to my Amazon list, like the
Mhm.
book, like my TBR
Yeah.
essentially. And I was like, okay, because I'm such a mood reader, and I was like, when I'm in the mood, this will be perfect, because correct me again if I'm wrong, isn't it kind of like not post-apocalyptic, but it's like
It's dystopian.
yes,
Um,
yes,
yeah,
yes. And
it's
I knew,
very
yes, there it
different,
is.
different looks as
Very different
well.
looks, very different vibes and tropes. But I know
Yeah.
one day I'm gonna be like, I need to read. Like I'm in the mood for it, so I added it to save it, and then it was like kind of full circle when you joined the show. So that was exciting. Perfect. All right, we'll talk more about the books with some of these upcoming questions. Orange, pink, green, or blue?
I'm gonna switch it up and do blue. I'm not gonna go back
Look,
to green. I'm gonna
perfect.
do blue. Let's see.
Let's do it. All right. BLUE. Oh, we got the other
New
option. Okay.
questions. Yes.
1, 2, 5, or 6?
I'll do 5.
5. All right. Question number 5. And this is me totally writing these numbers down because I will forget. That's
That's
just
no
the name of the
worries.
game. All right. Question number 5 is, what inspired you to write these two books? I want to hear like what inspired you to, well, I know you said they're like 10-year-old books, right? Like what was like
Yeah.
the inspiration behind them?
So I think for The Space Between, it was more, I grew up in the Tumblr era, 2014. Everyone was on Tumblr, everyone was kind of emo. And, um, John Green's probably one of my favorite writers, and I wanted to write something that made people feel the same types of emotions because he's a very emotive writer, and I strove to do that. So I think The Space Between was kind of like my love letter to that period of time. Um, and for The Greater Good, it's a weird one, but in my first ever apartment complex, I lived next to this very weird looking higher structure that was in the distance, and there was lights on it, and I was like, I just kept thinking like about the outsider perspective of like looking into like thinking you're looking into a better life, but like what if it's actually a worse life? And that's
Right.
kind of how I got my brain going with that one. So they're
Awesome.
vastly different.
Vastly different, but very cool. And I feel like probably with the idea of like sitting there and like festering in a way, probably
Yeah.
like added so much like context to these
Oh,
books and like layers to it,
a
because you just had it like
hundred
kind of
percent.
marinating, you know?
100%. I mean, I'm glad that I revisited both of them because I don't, The Space Between was written by 21, 22-year-old Lauren, so it's not anywhere near the same
Right.
as it came out to be. There's a lot of different aspects to it. Certain characters were actually not big characters in this book. Originally, it was really just Cameron and Millie, and that was Allison and Blaine were kind of on the side. And once I joined with Chris, who was my developmental editor, she kind of pushed me to be like, well, what if their dynamic was like a little different? And then Allison and Millie's whole story became kind of front and center in the book, which I actually ended up really loving. Like Allison's probably one of my favorite characters to write in the book. And one of her favorite lines was inspired by one of my best friends, and I made him a cross stitch of it and everything. So
That is awesome. That is so cool. Awesome. Well, but I still, it's crazy to think like 10 years ago, yeah, we were like in our 20s. It doesn't
Yeah,
feel like it was
it's
10 years ago. That feels like it was
different.
not that long ago.
It's a different world.
We were different people.
Yes.
All right. Pink, orange, green, or blue?
I will do pink.
Pink. All right. I'm supposed to write pink. Pink. And your number options are 1, 2, or 6.
I will do 2.
2. All right. Question number 2. All right. I know we kind of like talked broadly about the 2 books, but can you tell the readers like a little bit more in depth of a synopsis or an overview of the 2 books? Like if they were like, I guess technically like what's on the back of the book, but like how would you explain these books without giving away any?
That's a hard question. I feel like that's
Yes,
like every writer's like the
I
question that
know,
scares them the
I know.
most.
Yes,
For the space between, I would say, it's obviously, I know it's branded as more like coming of age, but I would say it's about finding yourself and finding your
yes,
community, finding, your purpose. Um, and kind of understanding that sometimes that's in like the most unexpected ways that, finding yourself can kind of be extremely unexpected. And the people that you end up
yes,
bringing into your life, whether it's for a short period of time or a long period of time, like they kind of help guide you, but ultimately like it's your decision.
yes,
And I would just say, it's about friendship, it's about love, it's about grief, and it's about self-discovery.
yes,
So that's what I would say for that one. And for the greater good, I think really just it's kind of like imagining an alternate world where like if you were to be yourself for a second, like, you'd be put in automatic danger. I guess like the gist of it is it's a girl who grows up not being able to be a woman, not being able to be her true self because of an incident that happened 20 years ago where all younger women were basically eliminated because somebody did something they weren't supposed to do. So it's
right.
kind of learning to find your own strength in kind of like the hardest periods of time, and to kind of learn how to rely on yourself and like to learn that you're strong and that it's okay to be yourself regardless of the situation. So this one's a lot darker, but yeah, I would say it's just I guess like the best way to summarize it would be if you like Hunger Games, Maze Runner,
Yes,
Divergent,
yes,
this
yes,
is for
absolutely.
you.
Yes,
It's very heavy, and if you like, Paper Towns, The Fault in Our Stars, anything John
yes,
Green, this is for you.
yes. Absolutely. And from what I remember about, I read this space between, like I was telling you before we were filming, I think it was December that I read it. It might have been before that, but it was about somebody who, and I don't think this is spoiling anything because it's at the very beginning of the book, but she um, had just found out she was adopted.
Mhm.
And it's a very big deal for her because she's older. She's gone her whole life not knowing this, and she really is like learning herself, growing, finding herself, and then like you said, navigating all of these different events and things that everyone can relate to in some way or another. And it was a fun book to read. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I kind of, it was therapeutic in a way to write,
Yeah.
just because like I do have anxiety. So like writing Millie was a lot of her fears are my fears. So, and it's
Yeah.
interesting to like see how people receive it because I think like she's a very relatable character, and sometimes
Yes.
relatable characters are hard. It's hard to read books with people, with characters that remind you of yourself, because sometimes it's not the best parts of yourself that they remind you of.
Yes.
And that's how Millie was for me. Like writing it took a little while in some places because I'm like, I don't want to write this part because I don't want to know what that means about like my
Right.
anxiety. But I think having friends like Allison and obviously Cameron, but really most importantly, I think having friends like Allison who are understanding, who don't care, that she has these anxieties. I think that's kind of a reminder, like to surround yourself with people that will love you for you.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely. And I vaguely remember, and I meant to go back and double check, but I feel like you added a couple like good, like really good, like for me, I was like reading the quotes at the beginning and it like was setting up about like I think one of them included like actually like the space between, like to get from point here to point there. And I was like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, these quotes are like so good and like so relatable. And
Yeah, it was from, believe it or not, it's from the Phantom Toll Booth. And the quote was, "The most important reason for going from one place to another is to see what's in between, and they take great pleasure in doing just that."
yes, absolutely. I loved the quotes, and it's something that stood out when I was reflecting back on that book. Awesome. Well, thank you for answering that. All right. Your color options are pink, green, blue, or orange.
I'll do green.
All right. Green. We're going to pretend it landed like this. And your options are 1 or 6.
I'll do 6.
Question 6. Okay. So question 6 is, I snooped. And I saw you post a couple days ago. I think it was like only 2 days ago or something. Let me I got the screen. I got the screenshot. 1 second. Okay. Yes, here it is. Something new is coming and you are all invited. You are cordially invited is you can't see it. What is happening? I'm dying to know. And I worked that question in here just for my selfish purposes.
So it's something very different from anything I've done before. I kind of just couldn't sleep one night and came up with an idea of.
And you don't have to say it if you can't.
No, it's fine. I it's kind of nice to, talk a little bit about it. I'm not going to do a title release yet, even though I have a title, I have a cover design.
Right.
But I came up with a thought of, what if like a little mystery novel began with like a confession of a crime? Like, what if that's the opening line was the murderer actually saying, "I'm the murderer," and that's how it opens. And I'm like, what if that happened? And what if it was set in 1920s? And what if there were tarot cards involved? And so I just kind of got my brain going. So I'm working on a mystery set in the 20s, kind of like Clue. So for fans of Clue, Knives Out, Inheritance Games, that's what I would equate this to. So I'm still in the drafting stages. We have the opening first chapter done. But yeah, I did not expect my next work to be a mystery. I do have a couple different books that I'm working on that I have chapters completed of, but this one just kind of came to me and it just kept going and the characters kept talking and I'm like, I think I want to write this. Like, it just seems really fun. So
that is really awesome. Excited. I'm excited. I need a good mystery. So I can't wait, and I hope you'll come back on here once you release that so we can chat more about it. Yes. Perfect. I'm excited. All right. Pink, orange, green, or blue?
I'll do orange.
Orange. ORANGE. Oops. We'll pretend it landed here. And your last number option is number 1.
Okay, let's go with number 1.
To be my favorite one. I feel like it's going to be easier to answer this question with the space between. Okay. But do whatever you want. But if you had to choose a nostalgic millennial song or movie or show, what comes to mind when you think of the space between?
Oh, when I think of the space between, like something nostalgic, is it too easy to say Crossroads?
No, not at all. That's perfect.
I would say Crossroads, if for the 90s. But weirdly, the way that I randomly it came to my mind right before release day. It's not really 90s, but in my head I was like, if you took John Green and married it with Little Miss Sunshine, you would have the space between. But if for the 90s, I would probably say Crossroads.
Yes. Yeah. Perfect. That was awesome. I didn't think about that when I was reading it, but now that you say that, I'm like, oh yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Especially the song.
Now I want to rewatch Crossroads. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for playing Paper Fortune Teller with me and entertaining me in a nostalgic way and answering all those questions. You were such a good sport, so thank you so much. We're at the next part of this episode, and you get to choose a nostalgic millennial game that's going to have a bookish twist to it. And your options are MASH, Never Have I Ever, or Truth or Dare.
Ooh. I think I'm gonna do MASH. I used to play MASH all the time with my best friend growing up.
It's a personal favorite of mine for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so MASH. Let me get my paper ready. Also, for any viewers who are watching that are not millennials or are millennials and never played MASH, MASH stands for Mansion, Apartment, Shack, or House. On my Bookstagram, I do like a MASH Monday where I pick like a book crush and I do a MASH advertising that book and trying to convince you to read the book through MASH. And so what we're going to do, and I'll start writing because I can start talking forever, is you're going to pick 2 for each of the categories and I'll pick 1, or else I'll be here counting forever and you'll be very bored. So the first category, I'm going to say book crush, and it's just, you can give me names. It can be actual book characters that you've written. It could be book characters you've read, or it could just be like the most random name you can think of. There's no rules. So book crush.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a hard one. So if I had 2, I think I would have to say one would be Gus from Beach Read.
Okay, who was that? Sorry.
His name is Gus from Beach Read in Emily Henry's book.
Okay.
And I think if I have to give 2, I think the second one, I'll give a shout out to one of my favorite indie authors. I picked Ethan Barclay from Life in November, which is Haley's book. So I think that would be my second.
Hey, wait, can you say it again? Because it keeps cutting out for some reason. Who's the name?
Ethan Barclay.
Oh, wait, from Life in November?
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes. That's what I thought you said, and then it like cut out, and I was like, "Oh my God!" Wait, so you love Life in November too, right?
I do. Yeah, I actually read it. I was one of Haley's ARC readers for that one. We just had her on Tomes and Tonics last night, and so we got to talk all things Winchester, all things Lynn, all things Bad Daughter. So it was great.
Wow, she is going to be on this coming Monday. We were supposed to film last Monday, and it had to get rescheduled. I'm obsessed with Life in November. It's such a great, great book. Mm-hmm. Kind of similar to The Space Between, like in certain ways, like finding yourself and growing and evolving within yourself. And Ethan, holy cow, he was the very first MASH Monday that I did. It's dedicated to Ethan. She's
definitely worth it.
Okay. My book crush would be, I'm going to do Chad from The Maestro by Auden Dar, just to flip it around. Spice it up. Okay, so our next category is going to be career. So it can be any careers.
I would say psychologist, because it's kind of what Millie ended up being.
Yes. Right.
And I would say author because of another work in progress that I have that centers around an author. So.
Okay. And to stick with the same theme of Chad, which we do not need to do, I will do Maestro, because he was or is it Maestro? I think I say it wrong.
Maestro. I don't think it matters.
I'm going to have to look that up. I feel like maybe my whole life I've been saying that wrong. Okay. And then number of kids.
Ooh. Oh. I would say 0 and 1.
Yeah. That was like always me when I was like younger doing this game with friends. I'm like 0, 1, and then the friend would be like 10.
Yeah. So I was like, oh.
I'm like, whoa. And in that spirit, I'm gonna say 4. I'll meet you halfway. Okay. And then tropes. So this is like my bookish spin, but you'll get to pick 2 tropes. It can be tropes you like, tropes you don't like, and then I'll pick 1 trope.
Okay, I would say enemies to lovers, for sure. My least favorite trope, I'll also throw out there, which is unexpected pregnancy.
It's my most favorite. Okay.
Oh, interesting. I feel like that's such a divisive one, too.
And I do feel like the majority of people don't like it. Like, I feel like it's either you do or you don't, and I feel like I am in the minority of that.
That's so it doesn't ever miscommunication. I like miscommunication, but
I love miscommunication, and people are always like, "Ew, miscommunication." Yeah. I'm like, "Geez, I just have a lot of red flags."
In one of my books, that actually was supposed to come out before the mystery, which will now come out after the mystery. It's built on miscommunication, and when I saw like so many people were like not a fan of it, I was like, maybe I should rewrite this.
I know. Don't.
I was like, nah, I'm going to
No.
stick with it because that's what I want to do. So.
I love it. Yes, I love a good miscommunication, and it gets bonus points for me if the person has to grovel after the miscommunication. I'm like, yes, grovel away. All right. And for my trope, I'm just gonna pick like the most random one. Brother's best friend.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah. Okay. So we have our MASH. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's ready to go. So I'm going to start drawing a spiral until you tell me to stop, and then that's how I'm going to add up the points of intersection to figure out how to start slashing. Go ahead and tell me when.
When.
Okay. 6, 10. All right. So for those of you who are newbies, I'm going to count, and every 10th one I land on, I cross out till we get one left in each category.
All right. See what my match is going to be.
Yeah. This is when, like, in the editing process, I need to speed it up. All right. Because sometimes I can talk during this. Sometimes I, like, get way messed up.
Yeah, especially, like, higher numbers. It's like,
Yeah. Sorry, Autumn. It's not anything to do with Chad.
I haven't read that one. I'll have to check it out.
Okay. I'm excited. We have our answers. I'm going to read them to you.
Cool.
To both of our excitement, it is Ethan. Ethan is the book crush. So, Haley, we are obsessed with Ethan.
Thank you, Haley.
She'll fight us for him, I'm sure. The career is author.
Interesting.
One kid.
Nice.
Brother's best friend is the trope and lives in a house. So I just made your next work in progress. Like, this is going to be the basis of your next book. I'm confident in it. No, I'm just kidding. But feel free. Feel free. I think that sounds like an amazing book, actually. Like, I would read that.
Author's brother's best friend. Yeah, I could see
He's an author. His name's Ethan. He has a kid. I'm okay
my
with
wheels
that.
turning a little bit. Yeah.
I'm vibing with it. Awesome. Thank you so much for playing that. I just get all giddy over MASH. Like, it's so fun and kind of therapeutic. Thank you so much, Lauren. I appreciate you being on this episode. Before we end the episode, though, can you please let the viewers know where they can connect with you online and also where they can find your books?
Sure. I am on Instagram only right now, but I'm on Instagram at writer, reader, coffee drinker. I know it's a lot, but it's all my favorite things. Or at Tomes and Tonics for the podcast. Those are the two places on social that I'm on. And as for my books, you can find them both of them are on KU. And The Space Between is available on Empress, Millennial with signed copies, or through Amazon. And The Greater Good is available on Amazon. So, yeah, definitely check them out if you like dystopian books and contemporary fiction.
Yes.
Have a little something for everybody, I guess.
Awesome. And I will drop the links to all of that in the caption so that viewers can easily click and connect with Lauren. And Lauren, please come back on the show whenever you want to, but definitely when your next book comes out, because it sounds amazing. I can't wait to follow and connect and stay in touch with you as your writing journey continues. Thank you again. Thanks for being on the show and taking a chance with me. I appreciate it. Yeah, and I can't wait to tune into your podcast. It's going to be amazing. I'm sure it is amazing. I'm going to love it.
So
yeah.
All right. We're still learning.
Yeah, same. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of She's All Books. Have a great day.
Thanks for watching this episode of She's All Books. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at She's All Books. If you're interested in appearing as a guest or partnership opportunities, please check out the links in the caption.